OT, and today we are going to make and weave an ivy crown. You can do this craft project without anything as the base for the crown, but it is a little bit trickier, so we're going to start indoors with making a cardboard crown, and then we'll go outside, pick some ivy, and then I'll teach you how to weave it around to make your very own ivy crown.
You're going to need cardboard, tape, scissors, a ruler, and a marker. What you'll do first is you'll draw a line with your ruler straight across your piece of cardboard. Then you'll move the ruler up a little bit and draw another line. Once you've made your lines, you're ready to cut. Take your scissors and carefully cut down the line. To make a crown that goes around your head, you're probably going to need 2 strips of paper. So you're going to measure another strip of paper just like the one you cut out. Just like before, cut carefully on the line.
When you're making your cardboard crown to be your ivy crown later on, you need to make sure that it goes all the way around your head. So this one is a little bit too short. So I'm going to combine both of these to make it a little bit longer, and then I can snip off what I don't need. I taped these two together, so now I can figure out how long my ivy crown needs to be in order to go all the way around my head. And I want some space, so I want to be able to get a finger in. I don't want it to be super tight to my head because the ivy is going to wrap around and we need to leave some space. So I'm going to make my crown maybe 2 fingers in, and then we'll see where that is. I'm going to snip it, and then I'm going to keep squeezing, and I'm going to get my tape. Oh no, I have to put my hands down. Hold on. Here we go. I got my piece of tape, and now I'm going to tape the other 2 edges of my cardboard crown together. And then I'll be ready for when we go outside and get ivy to put it all around to make my ivy crown. Now we're outside and we just collected ivy. So I clipped ones that are about this big, like almost as long as my arms. So when you're clipping ivy, you just want to make sure that you have a long piece because you're going to wrap it around your crown a bunch of times to make it look completely made of ivy. You're going to take your crown that you made out of cardboard, so it's easier to wind it around. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your first piece of ivy and you're going to loop it inside, and then you're going to start to thread. This is tricky when you have the whole thing of ivy. You're going to start to thread your ivy around and around and around your cardboard. So you take your end, stick it through, pull it, loop it around. Same thing. Take your end, put it through your cardboard crown, and loop it around. Take it through, stick it, around. So you're starting to make your ivy crown. I'm going to keep going. When you get to the end of an ivy piece, but you still have more crown to go, you have to tuck the end back through the ivy that you just looped around. So you take the end and you're going to stick it back through and into the ivy that you just looped around. And then you can start your next one. To start a new piece of ivy around your crown, you can take your new end and you can kind of stick it into the ivy that you've already looped, and then you can just start looping from there. So same thing that we did before. You take the end of the ivy, you're going to go through your crown. Same thing, loop it around, big loops. And then tighten it down so it's right next to the cardboard. And keep going. Okay, same thing. I reached the end and now I have to tuck this one underneath the ivy that I've already looped to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to tuck it back through this one, back through this one, and make sure that it's nice and secure. Okay, now you can stop there or you can keep looping, but this is a pretty good ivy crown already. If you want to add flowers, that's pretty fun too. So I picked a bunch of daisies and I'm going to kind of just weave them in. You can put the flowers in wherever you want. If you want to take a daisy, you take a flower and then you just pick any place on your crown that you want to tuck it in. So I'm going to tuck my daisy in right there, and then you can kind of pull the end to make sure that it won't fall out. If you want to be extra careful, you can take your long flower stem and loop it underneath one of the pieces of ivy to make sure it really doesn't go anywhere. Like that. So you can keep adding flowers. If you want to try the ivy crown without the cardboard ring inside, you can also do it that way. So if you're doing it without the cardboard crown instead and just using your ivy, you still have to measure how big you want your crown to be. So you take your piece of ivy and you sort of put it around your head and then measure it, and then I sort of figure out where I need to pinch it. So when you pinch it and you bring it off your head, see if I can show. You want a little bit of an overlap, like this end is just kind of hanging out there because that's what you're going to loop over first. So once you have your crown and it's as big as you want, you're going to loop that end that was sticking out, that extra part, around the ivy itself. And then you have this big loop on the other side, and you're going to do the same thing. We're just going to loop the ivy around itself again and again and again and again and again. And ivy's pretty fun that it kind of likes to keep its shape once it's wrapped. So this is my first bit of crown, and it's already keeping its crown shape. But if you want to add more ivy, which I'm going to, then you just sort of repeat the process that you did earlier, where you take more ivy, and now this is kind of like your cardboard, and you're just going to loop it around and around and around to make your ivy crown super thick. Same thing like when we had the cardboard. When you've wrapped a piece of ivy around another piece of ivy, you'll always have this little loop. And when you're trying to finish it, you can just find a little place like that maybe to squeeze in the end so it won't go anywhere. And then you have your beautiful crown. And you can keep adding as much ivy as you want and make it really big, kind of skinny, whatever you want. You decorate it with flowers. You can decorate it with anything else you want. Leaves, other flowers, all of that. Enjoy!